Good morning. We are continuing on with our data analysis unit. Last objective, we did mean, median, and mode, which was more of a review for us. We've done mean, median, and mode before. This objective, we're doing CO61. We are going to interpret and create bar graphs and line graphs. Bar graphs, I know, is a review for us. We do it in our math packets almost every, we've had quite a few bar graphs we've had to make, making sure we're paying attention to all those details that go along with the bar graph. We haven't been focusing on line graphs in our math packets. Some of us might go, oh yeah, I kind of remember those line graphs. So it might be a little bit of review, it might be new. After today, our objectives are going to start being new types of graphs for those data analysis. So last time with the mean, median, and mode, and today more of a review, but it will get more challenging as the days go on, as we go through these objectives. So for today, we start with our bar graph. A bar graph is a type of graph in which lengths are used to represent and compare data. For each type of data analysis we're doing, we're going to use it for different reasons. So we are going to use the bar graph when we want to compare our data. And I want you to circle the bar graph focuses on how many of something. So if you get a question that says how many, you know you want to use a bar graph for that data. So each of these different types of graphs that we're going to be doing, we're going to use for different reasons. So you need to know that bar graphs are used when we want to know how many of something. And the x-axis is going to be a thing instead of a number. Like we had days of the week was on that x-axis, that bottom line. We had types of injuries on that bottom line, right? Those are from math packets. So instead of being numbers, like on our regular graphs, when we have graph paper, we have numbers on positive and negative numbers. On a bar graph, we'd have words for that x-axis. Then our numbers would be that y-axis going up. That's when we number it up. The frequency of the injuries. How many customers on that day of the week, right? So the numbers are the y-axis, but the x-axis is always things. Okay. All right, so here's an example of a bar graph showing the number of days it snowed from December to March. So think about all those details I always make us have on our bar graphs. We don't just have our month names, we have to have that title. These words are the months. We don't just have numbers going up the side, we have that label, number of days of snow. So when you're making that bar graph, I know there's another one due on tomorrow's packet, make sure you have your labels. We have our title, days of snow. We know that we have months on the x-axis, and we label it months. We have numbers on that y-axis, and we label it number of days of snow. Bar graphs we've used before, they're easier for us to read. Okay. So when it says which month had the most days of snow, is it easy to tell just looking at that graph? It's pretty easy because we know we just need to find the biggest bar, the tallest bar, the one that had 14. So that is February. So you just have to write your answer. And again, which month has the fewest days of snow would be easy. Instead of the tallest bar, You want the shortest bar. Which month is the shortest bar? Audrey? December is the shortest bar. So with the bar graph, it's a lot easier to answer our questions. It says, how many days did it snow in February than in December? How would we solve that? I know my December bar and my February bar, but now it says, how many more days did it snow? What kind of math do I have to do? Vinny?
Subtract like the February number times December.
Yeah. We're gonna take that February number, our big number, and we're gonna subtract December from it, and that tells us how many more. And you're gonna figure out how many fewer days did it snow in March than January. You're gonna answer those two on your own. Okay? Knowing what we know about our bar graphs. I'm gonna scroll up, because then we have to create our own bar graph. It says, collect data from your classmates and create a bar graph showing how many students have a birthday in each month of the year. So we're going to create our data right now, and then you're going to make your own bar graph using correct labels, giving it a title. So like we do in our math packet, in order to get credit for it, you have to have everything labeled. In that math packet, we don't get the credit if we don't have all the parts to it. So first we have to do our data analysis, and since Diana is with us today, she gets to be a part of our data. So we know that there are 27 students in this class. Today there are 28 students, so we're gonna have 28 data points. So I've got, so you're gonna label on your paper all the months of the year, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in January. One January birthday. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in February. One February. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in March. 2 March. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in April. 3 Aprils. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in May. 1 May. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in June. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 June. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in July. 2 Julys. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in August. 1, 2, 3, 4. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in September. 1. Raise your hand if you have a birthday in October. 1, 2. November. 1, 2, 3. And December. 1, 2, 3. Let's count and make sure that we have 28. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we have 28 data points. You are going to make a bar graph for this information. So you need to come up with a title. So you're going to want to give your bar graph a title. You're going to do your y-axis, your x-axis. Remember, our things go on the bottom. On the x-axis, our numbers go up the y-axis. So you need to write your words on the bottom, give it a label. You need to do your numbers going up the side. Our highest number is 5. So you could number it. You don't have to skip count for this one. You need to give it a label. and you need to create your bars. Any questions on creating that bar graph? So most of us have a lot of experience creating those bar graphs, so you should be able to do this. Then we have questions on the bottom. You need to use that bar graph then to answer our questions. So I know we've had a lot of experience with the bar graphs, so we are gonna pause, and you're gonna come back to this when we have our work time. We're gonna turn our page to look at our second type of graph for today. So our second graph is that line graph. So the bar graph is easier because we've done those a lot in our math packets. Let's look at that second page about line graphs. So our definition for the line graph is a type of graph in which parts representing data, which parts representing data pairs are connected by line segments. So they are line segments, so they go from point to point. They do not continue on forever. So it's point to point. Connect your line segments, connecting those data pairs. Now, just like with our bar graph, the bar graph we use to see how many. There is a reason why we would use a line graph. A line graph focuses on the value of something. So it's important to keep in mind the different reasons we use different graphs. Note to self, you're going to want to include those definitions and the reasons why you use that graph on your help sheet. I know what's coming on the test. You're going to want to know the reasons why you use them, okay? We're going to be learning lots of different types of graphs. We need to know when we use those different types of graphs. How many of us have seen line graphs before? Raise your hand. Okay, so we've seen them before. They're a little bit easier for us to interpret, like that bar graph, easy to interpret because we've used them before. Like I said, future graphs that we're going to work on are going to be new. Today's lesson, a little bit easier for us because we've seen these before. So here's an example of a line graph showing Russell, whoever that is, but Russell's height over time. So this is somebody that Mr. Schultz created, not a real person. You will notice that we have those data points that are connected. It is not a line that extends on forever. There's no arrow. It's just connecting those points into those segments. So we use this information to answer our questions. Our title is Russell's height at a 3-year interval. So we have every 3 years at the bottom, we can see his age. It's labeled so we know what those numbers mean. Every 3 years. Then on the left, on that y-axis, we have his height at those 3 years, height in feet. So we know we're measuring them by feet, not by inches, not by meters. We know that this is his height in feet. So we use those labels to help us be able to answer the questions. How tall was Russell at age 3? Who can answer that using that graph? Fernanda? Yeah, so we look at age 3, because we know age is our bottom number. We go up and we see that point right at the 2. So we can say 2 feet. We don't just say 2 what? 2 inches, 2 dogs, 2 what? We need to put our measurement. He is 2 feet tall at age 3. How tall was Russell at age 24? Diana? Yeah, so we go to that 24, we go up, it's just above that line for 6 feet. So I wouldn't just put 6 feet, because I know he's a little bit taller, but I don't know exactly how many inches that is. But I know it's less than halfway. So I know halfway with my inches would be 6 inches. So I might say something like 6 feet, 2 inches. Okay, because I know it's above 6 feet, but it's not 6.5 feet tall. So this is going to be not as precise because we don't have those specific inches over on the left. So it's going to be about. And as long as you are close. If you would have said 6 feet, 8 inches, I wouldn't give credit for that because that's higher than 6.5 feet. And we know that it falls below that halfway mark. Okay. You're going to answer the next 2 questions on your own based on the information here. What I want to show us how to do is this bottom part where we're going to be creating our own line graph. Now in our math packets, we've been focused on creating our own bar graphs. We're going to still label how we need to label things just like on our bar graph. So you're going to have your X and Y axis. You're going to have what we're putting on that X-axis, what we're putting on our Y-axis. You're going to need labels. You're going to want to give this a title. What is this graph showing me? So make sure you include that title. Now it says below is a table showing an average high and low temperatures for Minnesota from 1945 to the year 2022. Use it to create a line graph. So we are actually going to do 2 line graphs on this. We're going to do 1 line graph for the highs and 1 line graph for the lows. So we are creating 2 line graphs on 1 graph, and we're going to be comparing those. So, knowing what the directions say these numbers and months are all about, what do you think would be a good title for this graph? Rhoda?
Average lows and average highs.
So instead of spelling it out with lows and highs, I would just say average temps. Okay. We're going to be looking at those average temps in Minnesota. Not the whole United States, because Florida's going to have very different average temps than what Minnesota has. Okay. What do you think I want to put on my x-axis? What do you think, Michael? Months. So we would put, starting with, you don't have to write out each word. You can write the first letter. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So what do you think we're going to put on the y-axis? What are we going to put going up? What do you think we should put, Rhoda?
Temperatures.
Temperatures. So, I see quite a range of temperatures. Starting with 10 degrees, going all the way up to 83 degrees. Do you think I can number it from 1 up to 83? No, that's a lot of numbers to put on there. I can't fit it all on there. What should I do? Vinny?
You can skip count.
I can skip count. I would skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. I'm running out of room because I made it big. So my 85 is gonna go, my top numbers are gonna go kind of high. If you were able to fit it in better, that's awesome. If you're like, oof, I just don't have enough space, what can you do? Rhoda.
And
Instead of going to tens and having such a big space, do we have to use this space on this page to create our graph? No, remember, we've got that workspace on the page before us. So if you want more space, you can make your graph on that page before. You can come up and get graph paper that we can include in. Okay, so some of us are saying that's not enough space for me. Make it on that page before that's blank. Or come get a piece of paper that you can put into your binder. So you don't have to, if you're like me and you ran out of room and you're like, oh, I just need more space. Redo that graph setup on the page before. And that's totally fine. So you don't have to erase everything and try to squish it all in. If you want to use the space before, use the space before. Does that make sense? Now we're doing two line graphs. So we're going to first do the high and graph, connect our segments, and then you're going to do the low and connect your segments. We don't want to put our points on there for both the highs and the lows and then try to connect them, because we're going to forget which ones were the highs and which ones were the lows. So I am going to look at January and say in January, my high was 24. So I'm going to put a point at 24. So just below that 25. It's not going to be precise because we skip counted. Then February, I'm going to go up to 29. So just below that 30. March, I'm going up to 42. April, I go up to 58. May, I go up to 70. June, I'm going up to 79. July, I'm going up to 83. August, I'm at 80. And this is where it's tricky because mine, I didn't shift over. So mine is running up into my numbers there, and that's okay. For me, if you don't have enough space, go to the other page and make it so you have space. September is at 71. October is 58. November is 42. And December is 28. So once you have all of those points in, you can connect those line segments. So again, I'm using that word segment because it's not a full-on line where I put the arrows and it goes on forever. It just goes from one point to the next point, and then I'm going to label this my high. So I know that line segment, that line graph is for the high temperatures. You're going to do the same thing for the low temperatures. So you're going to plot each of those points for every month. You're going to connect them and label it lows. And then you're going to answer the questions on the bottom. So on the first page, you're going to finish with your bar graphs, answering those questions, creating the bar graph, answering the questions. On the second page, you're going to answer those questions up top about that line graph they created, and you're going to finish creating that second line graph on the lows, and then answer your questions. Do we have any questions about using the bar graph and the line graph? All right, when you are finished, I think we might have enough work time to finish today. If we don't finish, it's homework. We are correcting tomorrow. If you do finish, remember, packet number 10 is due today. Make sure you get that turned in at the end of class. Okay, so if you're not finished with it yet, save this to be homework tonight and get that packet 10 done. Oh wait, not today. It's due tomorrow. My bad. I had my days of the week wrong. Oh, thank goodness. Not due today. But if you don't have it done, if you are finished working with this, work on your math packet. Work on Khan Academy. Khan Academy is due Thursday, so packet 10 due tomorrow, so you can work on it if you have time. Khan Academy due Thursday, work on that if you have extra time. If you are done with the homework, done with the packet, done with Khan, then find something quiet to work on, read a book quietly. We have about 17 minutes of work time, and then we have to switch for art. Okay, so working quietly, math first, then if you have all 3 parts of the math done, you can work on something else quietly. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.